Not thinking that you've earned your place, you're not good enough. It's always there, especially for newcomers. Regardless of how well you did in your previous life, in your previous country, when you come to a new place, a new space, there's always that tiny winning voice at the back of your head saying, "Oh, you're not good enough." It's always there. That voice is coming from a place of fear, apprehension, and lack of logic. There's no reason, there's no rhyme. I'm supporting that voice. If you are a newcomer or a minority or an immigrant and you want to make a name for yourself, you must be good. You must be competent. You must invest in excellence.
Welcome to Visionary Voices. I'm your host, Ida, and today we are thrilled to have Charles Osuji, a multi award winning lawyer. He is the CEO and managing partner of Osuji and Smith, one of Calgary's fastest growing law firms. And Charles has been recognized as one of Calgary's top 40 under 40 and a top 25 most influential lawyer in Canada. Your journey, Charles, from newcomer to CEO is nothing short of extraordinary. And the thing that I do admire personally about you is your dedication goes beyond the courtroom. Like you're deeply passionate about creating a real change in the lives of people, giving them that opportunity that you yourself got from Mr. Smith. But a lot of people don't have that opportunity. So I admire the fact that you're very passionate about creating that particular change in the lives of people. And so I'm excited to dive into your story. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Ada. It's an honor to be here.
So I listened to you talk on the Okiki podcast, and I picked
Oh, you
one
did?
little fun
Okay.
fact. Yeah, I picked one little fun fact about you. You did not like math.
Nope, I hated it. Still do.
Yeah, and
But I know
and
how
your
to count
hatred
my
for it.
money, though. I can count the money, but not the
That's a
math behind
good
it.
place to start. You know how to count your money. You know what?
Yeah,
You know what? Your background. You're from Nigeria, so every
right.
Nigerian knows their money.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
The place I was going with that is that you didn't like math, and so your hatred for math pushed you away from the sciences, but your love for reading pulled you
Right,
into law. So talk to me about that journey.
absolutely. Growing up under African parents, the expectations are already set for you, right?
Yes.
I come from a family of scientists, a lot of doctors and pharmacists and nurses. So my parents naturally thought I would follow the same path
Yeah.
and be a doctor. And I wanted to at some point, but it just wasn't working. I've been in the math class. It would take me 2 days to understand what has been taught. But in the English class, I'd be the substitute teacher. The concepts with respect to English and literature was just very relatable. I could grasp it right away. But when it comes to numbers, looking for X and Y and all those figures was just difficult. As a child, that caused a lot of self esteem. You would think you're not good enough. You think you're not. You can't measure up to expectations. Then I made the bold move of eliminating um, sciences from my passion, and I was like, what's the best, or what's the next best thing that could happen? And that was law. I loved reading. I loved back then in high school. I would pick up a novel, come in front of the class, and start a book club in front of the class.
Wow.
Yeah, on my own. So I started paying attention to that. Took a lot of art classes. Decided to go into law, and lo and behold, I realized that this was where I was supposed to be. I could. I was a very good student in law school because the concepts were very, very relatable, and I was able to convert my passion for reading to academic excellence, right?
Hmm.
And this is a lesson for uh, parents out there. You have to let your child thrive and flourish in what they are born to do. The days of setting expectations and expecting a child to meet those expectations regardless of their either biological, psychological, physiological makeup,
Hmm.
those days are gone. Those days are gone. that is where I am today, and my parents have apologized to me for, for
More
putting me
because they've
through.
seen the success coming out of law, or
Right,
because like truly they're sorry for that.
exactly, exactly.
So you very openly credit your success right here in Canada to the fact that Mr. Smith gave you an opportunity to have a foot in the door.
Right,
And I know from listening to you, you didn't originally think about becoming an entrepreneur. You just wanted to be there, give your best, do the work that you're able to do, and do it to the best of your ability. But then things just started aligning until you became the partner at this firm. Talk to me about that
right.
journey.
Life happens to all of us. We just have to be open to opportunities, open to what your story, how your story is unfolding,
Hmm.
and not be closed-minded. Back in law school, my plan was to go into academia, do my master's, PhD, and end up in a classroom teaching students because I loved to study. I loved academics. To me, that was my goal. That was how I was gonna end up. Then fast forward to coming to Canada, I wasn't sure what the plan would be here. I was open minded.
Hmm.
I was just focused on getting my qualification exams in, write my ACA exams, and then article. Fast forward to articles, I was open minded. I just wanted to learn and find my path in Canada. After my articles, I was called to the bar. Again, I wasn't sure what my path would be. I just took on whatever came through the door. All the assignments I was given, I just paid attention to them, focused a lot on learning, getting better in terms of client management and understanding what was expected of me as a young lawyer.
That was in
Then
Nigeria or right here in
I was
Canada?
here. I
Okay.
was here. I only practiced for like 4 months in Nigeria. I didn't quite practice there.
Okay.
Yeah, before I left. Then Mr. Smith was looking to retire. He was looking to sell his practice. He was negotiating with a few people to sell his firm. I had zero interest. If I didn't even cross my mind at all
Hmm.
at the time. I remember one of the potential buyers came around and took me out for dinner, promised me that my job was secure, and I was so excited that I wasn't going to lose my job.
Yeah.
He indicated that he had heard so much about me, my work ethics and stuff. And the conversation ended up very well until shortly afterwards, I heard that the conversation wasn't going well between this individual and Mr. Smith. So Mr. Smith approached me with the opportunity, and I said no, because I was not interested.
Hmm.
At that point, I was just not confident that I was ready. I was barely 4 or 5 years in the country, 2 years post call, if not less, post call. Still young, very young for that kind of endeavor.
Hmm.
Shortly again, he came back with the same opportunity. I said no. Then when he came back the third time, I was like, let me take this to some of my mentors and see what they thought. At the back of my mind, I just wanted them to confirm my decision.
Yeah.
Don't do
We
it.
just no, don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, don't do it. It's crazy. It's too early. Lo and behold, all of them were like, go do it. This is a good opportunity. We'll support you. And that was when I had a mentor shift with respect to the opportunity. I began to see the opportunity and I began to pay attention to it. I said yes, Mrs. Smith. We started working on it. It took us about a year and a half to finalize the transition. We didn't rush it because we already had a relationship, a working relationship. There was no rush, there was no urgency.
Hmm.
Prior to that, I didn't see myself as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
The only entrepreneurial endeavor I had undergone or undertaken was back in high school when I used to take photography. I was into photography.
Yeah.
I was taking photographs of photos of my schoolmates for money, for
Hmm.
compensation, and I sucked at it. I ended up with stacks of pictures at the end of,
It reminds me
end
of
of
my
this,
own experience in school. Oh
right?
my goodness. Yeah.
You know, everybody was excited taking the pictures, but when it came to paying for it, nobody was paying for it. So I was stuck with those
For the
pictures.
younger people who are listening to this, it's actually you would take a picture and print it out. It's not the iPhone thing you do right now. It's literally taking a
Exactly.
picture and then printing it out.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Printed out and then asked for compensation because there wasn't any deposit upfront. So my point of referencing that story was is I had no entrepreneurial experience whatsoever,
Hmm.
none. However, I was already managing my own clients before that.
Okay.
So in that little way, I was managing my business within the business of the firm.
Right.
So I had my clients. I made sure that clients paid up front. I made sure I did good work for them. I was bringing in most money to the firm, even
Hmm.
as a new associate, and I had over 85% of the clientele in the firm were clients that I had brought into the firm because I was
Wow.
all over the place. I was involved
Wow.
in so many community engagements. I was marketing myself. I was just trying to brand myself without any big plan in mind. So what I did was to more or less resort to the same principles that I was using for my own personal practice onto the bigger practice of the firm.
Hmm.
I began to make changes to the firm. Jim is a great guy, was old school. I had to make changes to some of the ways he did things.
Hmm.
And I realized that those changes were working. And I'm very happy and appreciative of the fact that Mr. Smith was very supportive of the changes I was making to the firm. Started building the firm's website, created social media pages for the firm, was posting content online, inviting reviews, engaging in speaking engagement, podcasts. I was doing everything possible to get the name of the firm out there,
Hmm.
and they were working. And of course, I was paid attention to doing good work for my clients. I've always told people that the best marketing is good work. You do
Yeah.
good work. You have someone who is in the community advocating for you and speaking to the type of services that you're providing, and that was it. You know, it was challenging getting capital from the banks because I didn't have any history.
Hmm.
And I went to so many banks that they would even pay attention to my request until I reached out to one of the major banks. This individual didn't know me for Adam, but just saw the drive and the fire in my eyes and said, "You know what, Charles, I'm going to give you a shot." And I remember promising her, "Oh, before the end of the year, I'm going to have $50,000 in the bank account." And
Yes.
by the end of the year, we had 10 times what my target was for the first year.
Wow.
Then I knew that something was happening. I was doing something right. I gave my staff, I increased all the salaries, made sure that they bought into the success that
Hmm.
we were experiencing. The consequence of that was me not paying myself for a year. I didn't pay myself for a year because I wanted to put them first and make sure that they felt that they were taken along or they were carried along with the transition. So here we are. It's been a journey.
I'm taking on so many notes because now my head is going in all directions with all the things you're saying. Okay,
Right.
number one is one of the people who were thinking of buying the firm was sitting down with you to let you know your job is secured.
Yes.
But you were pretty much bringing in 85% of the clients of the firm. So why would you be thinking that, or why would it even cross your mind that maybe your job was not secured? Is there some imposter syndrome, something that you were thinking about at that time?
Oh, the imposter syndrome had always been there at the time. It was there, right?
Yeah.
Not thinking that you've earned your place, you're not good enough. It's always there, especially for newcomers, regardless of how well you did in your previous life in your previous country. When you come to a new place, a new space, there's always that tiny winning voice at the back of your head saying, "Oh, you're not good enough.
Yes.
They're gonna figure out who you truly are. This place is different. Your success before is not equivalent to the success here. The challenges are different. It's always there." So at that moment, I didn't feel that I had earned my place. I still felt grateful for this individual to tell me that I had a place in the firm, even though I was more or less,
Even though you were literally the
I
firm.
was I was a financier of the firm. That's how terrible imposter syndrome is. Over time, I've learned to convert that syndrome to fire. You
Yeah.
know, you know, bringing in 150% every day to work. I don't see it from the negative light anymore. I see it as a reason to get up before others. I see it as a reason to stay longer in the office before others. I see it as a reason to bring my A game to the firm or to my work on a daily basis, not just once a week, twice a week, or 7 times a week. I see it as an opportunity for me to compete against who I was yesterday, right?
Yes.
And bring get better, and also give others opportunities. That was my mentality at the time, and of
Yeah.
course, even a year, 2, 3 years into running my own firm, that voice was still there. You've never done this before. I know you're doing this and you're succeeding, but guess what? It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we are.
What is it that gave you that mindset to think that you could, even though there's a voice telling you you can't?
History.
Explain.
When you've seen how much you've accomplished, how much you've done, how some of your decisions have worked, then you realize that that voice isn't logical any longer. That voice is coming from a place of fear, apprehension, and lack of logic. There's no reason, there's no rhyme supporting that voice. But at the very beginning, you don't have the benefit of history. You don't have the benefit of antecedent, right? So that voice
Mhm.
would have a stronger play and a stronger influence. But over time, you look back, you see how many people you've helped, you see how much you've accomplished, how far you've come, how many disasters you've overcome, COVID, going from 7 employees to 36 employees in 6 years. I pretty much won all the awards available for a lawyer in Calgary, and the feedback, the live feedback from clients in terms of the work we're doing in the community.
Mhm.
That voice has no influence any longer. It's always going to be there, but it does not have any influence anymore.
Are you familiar with the work of Alex Omozi?
I think I know the wife. They're both entrepreneurs,
They're
right?
both entrepreneurs. Alex and
Yeah,
Leila, they're both entrepreneurs.
yeah. I follow the wife.
Oh, okay, okay. You should follow
Yeah,
Alex.
yeah,
There's something
yeah,
that you
yeah.
said there that is completely something that he says. He said, because everybody's talking about confidence, which is also the imposter syndrome thing, just get the confidence. But to get
Hmm.
that confidence is to create the evidence for yourself that I know how to do this thing, which is what you
Exactly.
said. It's the history, right? So
Yes.
the voice is there, but you're silencing the voice because the voice has no place because you've
There's
proven
no
to
place.
yourself over and over that you do this thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Another question that I had as you were talking and I wrote it down, the mentors, your mentors encouraged you even when you thought like, I can't do this. You were going to get validation from external parties to say you cannot do this. They said, no, you can. You can actually do it. So how
Right.
important is it to have a mentor? Because if your mentors confirm to you the voices that were in your head, then all of this will not happen. But they
Right.
went against everything that you thought and pushed you in the other direction to just believe more in yourself.
Absolutely. It speaks to the need to have the right mentors in your life, because mentors are very powerful. They're very powerful. Many of us are born resilient and all of that. You still need external validation to quell some of the voices in your head and to march forward with confidence that you
Yeah.
can do it. I'm very blessed to have very good mentors, people who see more than I see and on whose shoulders I could see further. People like Mr. Smith. When I told no to Mr. Smith, he didn't understand it. He was confused. Like, Charles, what are you afraid of? Look at how well you've done for yourself in your own practice. What are you afraid of? I went to another mentor, Mr. Rondo. He said, Charles, you're a rock star. Why are you thinking about this? There's nothing to think about. Have them emphatically confirm the opportunity so quickly was quite a pivotal moment for me. I thought that they would think about it and then get back to me. No, they didn't think about it. Right there and then, they knew that there was an opportunity there. And the challenge I had then was I didn't have anybody to look up to.
Yes.
And that's the problem with trailblazers, right? You are trailblazing a path that didn't exist before you. Right now we're the largest black-owned firm in the country. I didn't have that at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't have anyone who had maybe 10 lawyers in their firm who looked like me, who was as young as me, who had the same heritage. Nobody to look up to.
Yeah.
So I was delving into a world that had not been traversed or explored in Calgary for someone who has the same color of my skin, sound of my voice, and who has the same heritage and youth. I was 28 at the time,
Wow.
so it was tough. I needed people who had seen further to validate that move. Because if I had gotten it wrong, that would have been the end. Maybe to an extent, that would have had a significant impact on my career. If I had undertaken that move and then maybe 6 months later everything crashes. I didn't know how to hire, fire, continue to build a firm. So it was important for me to seek and obtain external validation from the right people. Very
Hmm.
important, from the right people. I can tell you that when I was buying our second location,
Hmm.
I went to someone else that I look up to, and I asked this individual what they thought about spending millions of dollars in acquiring a new location for the firm. This person shut it down right away. You know, this person shut it down. It's too expensive. You could just rent. Why are you going too big too quickly and stuff like that? But guess what? At that point, I already knew what I wanted. I wasn't looking for external validation. It was just a conversation. I wasn't looking for external validation. But if I had had that conversation at the very early stages of my career back in 2015, 2016, that response would have had an impact on me. But it didn't because I knew where I was going. My future was clear. My vision was very crystal clear. I was just having a regular conversation. The point I'm making here is it's very important who you listen to and who you go to with certain issues. If you have a marital problem, there's someone that you go to, but you don't go to that same person if you're having business problems. Right? You have to be very, very intentional with who you go to for support.
I'm laughing at this because you and I we both come from communities where that's the common thing, right? It
Right,
becomes like if you have this particular issue, instead of looking to the people who have done the thing you're trying to accomplish, you go to
right,
the people who are very much like you and you try to get validation. Of course, they're going to tell you it's not going to work because they don't have the vision that you have. It's about finding those mentors out out of your comfort zone, definitely, but going into those networking events, going into those locations that people are doing the things that you hopefully plan to do one day, and you see what they do, and you kind of what the word you kind of model because this is success
right.
gives clues. You model what the other people are doing.
Exactly. Exactly.
A challenge, you mentioned the challenge of getting credit and
Hmm.
the funding for the to get the first place. But the other thing you also talked about, you didn't pay yourself a salary for 1 year because you
Yes.
wanted your staff to reap the benefits of the business before you.
Yes.
Expand on that.
That was one of the reasons. Another reason was I wanted to build that discipline. I knew that running a practice, running a business, if you want to succeed, you have to put others before you. You have to put the customers, the clients, your staff before you. And I wanted to experience that. So I told myself and I resolved I would not pay myself a dime for a year so that I could learn the need to put others first before me. Secondly, um, to ensure that my staff buy in into the success of the transition. Remember, Mr. Smith had run the firm for 37 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So the firm revolved around him. He was the face of the firm. And all of a sudden, I came in as a student and I'm taking over this firm. There was a lot of anxiety. We weren't much then at the time. We were about 6 or 7 of us. There was a lot of anxiety in the firm, even with clients, what this transition would mean.
Yeah.
I wanted to quell that anxiety by telling them, look, there is a change happening, but that change is for good. That change is for better. I will put you guys first. And I did. And oh man, that gave me a lot of mileage,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of acceptance. I didn't get a lot of resistance with the transition. Everybody rallied around, supported my vision, supported all the changes I was implementing and stuff. And I think is a lesson for upcoming entrepreneurs who think entrepreneurism is a pathway to personal success or personal financial success. If you go into it with that mindset, you might run into issues. You have to go into it as an opportunity to create. It's an avenue to create opportunities for others.
Mm-hmm.
And then the net return of that is personal success. But focus on planting the right seeds, extending low hanging fruits to your staff, and then see what happens afterwards.
That is very deep. That is profound. Thank you for sharing that. The vision of your company, like you are, what's the word? Your journey from newcomer to CEO is nothing short of remarkable. So like my head
Thank
is
you.
going in all directions when I look at your story and I look at just the impact that you're trying to create. One of
Right.
the initiatives that you're working on is the food in the door initiative,
Yes.
you said.
Yes.
And that is about solving the problem of Canadian experience.
Right.
Explain on that for me, please.
When my journey, it was riddled at the very beginning with lack of acceptance and lack of opportunities. The closest I got to a firm, this is so funny, was when I was working for a moving company and we had to move the furniture. I had to move the furniture from one law office to the other. That was the closest I got to actually being in a law office and see how the setup was. It was that bad. I had applied to many places. Nobody would even reply back, acknowledging receipt of the application. I remember receiving just one response that they've received my application, but there was no opportunity. I was like, yes, someone saw my application. I felt like I had moved, I had moved forward. I'd made a lot of progress.
Yeah.
You know, After a while, of course, Mr. Smith came around and I started my articles with him, including applying to volunteer opportunities. There was no call back.
Hmm.
So that left a very permanent impact on myself. And my story is not isolated.
Yeah.
So many newcomer professionals applying for opportunities, especially in the law space, where many employers don't even know the unique journey of international trained professionals. They don't know, they are not familiar with your law school, they're not familiar with your qualification process. Many of them still think that if you're qualified to practice elsewhere, you're not qualified to practice in Canada. Many people are still going through, basking in that ignorance.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult to get in. It was very difficult to compete with your counterparts. You're dealing with folks who went to school here. Right from year one law school, they have secured a summer position.
Mhm.
Second year, go back to the summer position. Third year, the summer position metamorphoses into articles. Many law firms don't even have the summer position space available for international trained lawyers because it's only limited to first year, second year, third year. But you're not first year, second year, third year if you're international trained. So
Right.
systematically, you're isolated from that opportunity because of the way things are done. After I made headway and I built my own space, I vowed that I'm going to dedicate my professional career and success in making sure that people coming after me have better opportunities than I ever did. And that is
Hmm.
the birth of Foot in the Door. Foot in the Door has always been on my mind from day one, but I wasn't sure how to go about it until, not long ago, I formalized it. We've registered it as a non for profit federally. We are now canvassing on getting directors on the board. We are seeking grants from the government. Even without formalizing Foot in the Door, we have helped over 250 lawyers in the last 3 4 years gain
Wow.
some Canadian experience. I have about 4 students who came through Foot in the Door. Many of them reached out to the program before they even left their countries of origin.
Hmm.
I know one of my students, Imtiaj, left UK. And he's Indian. He left UK, had applied before coming to Canada. He joined the firm 2 days after he landed, or a few days after he landed. And a week after joining the firm, because of how good he is, he became a part of the firm.
Wow.
And there's so many stories like that. And when I see him and many others like him, I said, this is the whole point of this program, that someone could come in and immediately find a place or a space where they are accepted and recognized, where their education is recognized. They immediately get exposed to how things are done. They join lawyers in courtroom appearances, consultations. They're doing researches. They're meeting with clients. They're getting familiar with the process and becoming more confident in
Yeah.
themselves. Two of my candidates, just one got articles in BC, the other one got a position with the city of Calgary because they had been exposed to practice and they could speak confidently during their interviews, the experiences in the firm, and everything that they've done. So that's the whole point of the Foot in the Door initiative.
Yeah.
Not only within the firm, the big plan for Foot in the Door is to awaken the consciousness across Canada. Because this is a pioneering initiative. There's no
Hmm.
initiative like that right now. Imagine if we partner with maybe 15 or 20 law firms in Calgary alone,
Yeah.
and each year they're taking on 20 to 30 internationally trained lawyers through the Foot in the Door initiative. In 10 years' time, we're not going to have issues with integration the way we do right now.
Yeah.
Many a time, the problem is many of these firms do not have the opportunity to actually work alongside international trained professionals to see how good they are. You know, when they don't have the opportunity to showcase their talent, there is no opportunity for them. But through Foot in the Door, the stars begin to shine. They
Yeah.
realize, oh, this person is really good. Maybe there's an opportunity for this person here. Maybe there's an opportunity for this person in a different firm. So the benefits are immense. And I just hope that the traction that we have so far continues and many other partners, government agencies, other law firms and businesses will buy in what we're trying to build here. Because that's where the future is. The
Yeah.
future of Canada is creating a seamless integration process for international trained professionals.
I couldn't agree more with you. It is so profound. I myself coming into Canada from Cameroon, I got my education from Cameroon and then I moved here. I was
Mhm.
already working as an accountant in a multinational firm in Cameroon.
Right,
And when I came here, I couldn't get an accounting job.
right,
No firm would accept, like, you send in your resume and it looks good, they would respond to you, your resume looks good, but you don't have Canadian experience.
Right.
And the question, it's a question of the chicken and the egg.
Mm,
How do you get the experience without getting the experience? I wasn't born
exactly.
here. I haven't been here. And it's
Right.
the same thing with a lot of lawyers. It's the same thing, like you said, and it's the same thing with a lot of the doctors. I'm sure for the doctors, it's even worse.
Right.
And right now, when you call to get an appointment at the hospital, you can barely get an appointment because I think there's not enough family doctors, or there's not
Right.
enough doctors. Same issue, but there are lots of foreign trained medical practitioners that are going
Right.
around working in call centers. And so,
Exactly.
and at the same time, Canada is doing immigration for millions of people every single year
Right.
without the way to get them in. So, how does a
Yeah,
country
right.
get to
No
benefit?
platform. Exactly.
No
There's
platform.
there's a campaign for getting more people, and then they come in on their own, pretty much.
Yeah. So what you're doing in the law space, I'm hoping to see that. I'm hoping if there's an entrepreneur out there who thinks it can solve this problem or who is actually solving the problem, we want to talk to you because we
Right.
need to get this message out there. More and more foreign trained professionals need to be aware that there is such a platform as foot in the door, so that they can come in and get that experience that is necessary for them to then start to contribute the way that they want to the Canadian fabric.
I completely agree. I mean, this program is is very powerful, and I'm not saying it because I started it. Because not just the law space, as you said, it could be foot in door program in the IT sector. It could be foot in door program in accounting sector. It could be foot in door program for engineers. The the ripple effect of the program is infinite. It could cut across all industries. And the opportunity or the message here is give a foreign trained professional an opportunity to gain some Canadian experience. Give them a shot, you know. And I'm sure the government would definitely support once the program has been formalized, because this is definitely within the scope of the campaign for letting more international trained professionals join the workforce in Canada.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the message gets out there. And
Right.
one thing I always say is that entrepreneurs are the ones that are going to solve all the problems that Canada has. And
Yes.
this is proof of it, right? Look at
Right.
people like you.
Right. Right.
All right, let's talk about the challenges of balancing then your business. We're talking about that just before we hit record. But managing the business side of things, because you need to meet client deadlines, you need to do all of that. But you are the face of the business, so you have to also go out and create awareness. How do you find the
Right.
balance between that and not even talking about the family side of it, but just entrepreneurship as it is? There is the process of doing the work, and there is
Right.
the process of building the business. How do you manage
Right.
that?
At the very beginning, it was very difficult to strike a balance between the competing interest in getting the work done for clients, because clients don't care. They want their work done,
Yeah.
versus building a business, managing a business, making sure all our vendors are paid, making sure that staff are paid, and all of it. Over time, I've evolved and I've learned to strike the right balance. What I've done is to invest in individuals who are able to work more independently. So rather than just hiring junior lawyers, that is a mix of junior lawyers, senior associates as well. With senior associates coming into the firm, I'm able to simply farm out some of the work to them, and also farm out some mentorship responsibilities of the junior associates to them. So what I do for the most part is consults. I do a lot of consults.
Hmm.
So in a given day, I probably have maybe 4 to 7 consults. Client consults with me. We establish a strategy in their case, and then I ship out their file to someone else who managing it on a go
Yeah.
forward basis. Then over the weekend, I take a look at the business, and of course, I do a lot of public speaking, a lot of community engagement. I have another speaking engagement this evening at
Hmm.
at the Thought Leadership School. So, and I love doing it. I tell myself my story is a story of inspiration, and I'll be very selfish and stupid to not share my story as much as I can. because either, to be very honest, out of the hundreds of lawyers during my time, God picked me to be in
Yes.
this space and create awareness, take a step that nobody had taken before me. So this is not for me at all. The success, the name, the influence is not for my benefit at all. Um, 2 weeks ago, I flew to Toronto for a speaking engagement. They were going to pay for my flight. I was like, no, I'll take care of it because to me is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
Is I've been given the privilege of being the messenger for integration, for diversity, newcomer success, being the face of what can happen when you give someone that doesn't look like yourself a shot and give them the opportunity to succeed. So that mission and that story and that testimony is something that I have to tell at every given opportunity. So I balance that with, of course, making sure that my clients are looked after.
I think it's something that Les Brown said. He said, the story you're sitting on, someone else is waiting on.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so I want to think of some people who have inspired you in your life. Who are three people, dead or alive, that if you had the opportunity to sit and have a conversation with, you would want to, and why?
Ali, Muhammad Ali is one of
Okay,
them.
I thought about
My
him the other
goodness.
day. Wow.
Oh my goodness. He is so brave. He was courageous. He was eloquent despite his circumstances. And of course, he was very good.
Hmm.
That's the thing with minority success. You have to be very good.
Yes.
You have to be very good. And I say that all the time. Um, you know, be it white cat, be it black cat. If the cat catches a mice or a mouse, the cat is a good cat, right? It doesn't matter
Hmm.
the color of the cat. If you are a newcomer or a minority or an immigrant and you want to make a name for yourself, you must be good. You must be competent. You must invest in excellence. And it's not just momentary investment, not occasional excellence. It has to be, it has to be sustainable
Yeah.
success. And I can tell you that has sustained the success of my firm. Emphasize excellence as much as they can. If others are putting in 3 hours, you have to double that. If others are reading just one book, you have to double that. If your opposing lawyer is reading one or two cases in preparation for co-hearing, you have to read 10 cases. If opposing counsel is talking to their client only once a week, you have to talk to your clients once every 2 days. You have to double down on excellence. And that
Hmm.
is one thing I love about Ali. He was very good, and his message became um, was received because he was good, right? He was good at his craft, and that
And
was
and he was a pretty boy.
and he was a favorite exactly the greatest of
He
all
says that
time.
all the time.
Yeah, right. If he was not good at what he did, if he was not good at his craft, his message would have fallen on deaf ears. So it's very important, and that's one thing
Yes.
I've learned from him. Then my dad is still alive. My mom got married to my dad when she was 15,
Wow.
back when,
Wow.
with no education whatsoever,
Hmm.
none whatsoever. Then at age 27 or 26, my mom had 6 children at age
Hmm.
26. My dad decided to send her to school. She resisted. My dad refused that she must go to school.
Hmm.
My mom actually started primary education at age 26.
Wow.
She was in the same class as my older brother, you
Wow.
know. And they tell me the story of the very first day she was supposed to go to the boarding school. The All of them, all 6 of them, the last at the time was a baby or just a year old. All six of them, including my dad, got to the road. They stopped a cab, a taxi. Taxi stopped. My mom refused to enter. Taxi left. Another taxi came again. She refused to enter. She was just crying and bawling. Then the
Uh-huh.
third time, she more or less mustered courage to get into the cab and drive off to boarding school. While in boarding school, nobody knew that she was even married,
Wow.
much less with six children. She kept that a secret because it was a Catholic boarding school for nuns. She kept that a secret for 10 years. She finished primary school, finished secondary school, went to school of nursing, and then came back. And that was when she had me, when she came back.
Hmm.
Um, Throughout those years, my dad was home taking care of the rest of the children and also, being a teacher all those years. You know,
Wow.
yeah, he didn't leave her. He was just there supporting. So for a man who could see the future and was willing to ensure that my mom was educated despite the consequences, despite the sacrifices, that is someone to emulate for sure. That drive for education, infested all of us. I tell people that I'm the least educated in my family, and I'm not making this up. We cumulatively have over. There's eight of us. We have about 26 degrees. One of them became a PhD holder. The fifth person became a PhD holder today, actually.
Wow.
You know, because of what we've seen in our father, what we've seen in our mother, how they were able to prioritize education even when the odds were against them. So my dad would be the second,
Oh, hold on. For the audience, I want to interject right there. For
right?
those listening, you don't know how profound this is for an African man in Nigeria at the time, I'm assuming,
Right. Yes.
to do that. You send your wife away to boarding school, and
Boarding
then
school.
you're
Yeah.
home with the kids, taking care of them for all that
S-
time. That is
Six kids.
profound
Six
to,
kids for over 10 years. Yeah.
to the kind of mindset, to the kind of leadership, the kind of person that he is. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. It's mind blowing. And I told this story when I presented at as a convocation speaker at UOC a few months ago, and the audience were quite marveled at that level of sacrifice and
Yeah.
future thinking.
Yeah.
My mom is still a nurse practicing. My dad is long retired, and now he has stepped back, and my mom is now helping out and being there for him. The reversal of role, and he could see
Wow.
that. He could see that like 40 years ahead of him. Right. Then the third person, of course, would be Obama. Right.
Hmm.
I admire his journey. I admire him trailblazing politics as a person of color, and also maintaining good reputation all those years. Right? Despite the pressure, despite the distractions and all that. So I'll be the third person I admire.
Wow. Oh my God. Thank you for sharing that. Look, shout out to Obama, shout out to Muhammad Ali. But your dad?
Right.
I can't get over it.
Yeah, he's turning 90 years old in December.
And how old is your mom?
My mom is 75.
Okay. Wow, he
My
could
sister.
he could really see that. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah,
Okay, okay, come back here, Ida.
yeah.
So you talked about the vision of the company itself, what you see, what you want to happen to Osuji and Smith. You're talking about making it national firm. How is that going? Is that something you've started doing right now? Is it something you want to talk about here? How is it going for you?
It's still a vision at this point. Right now, we're consolidating our presence here in Calgary, Alberta.
Hmm.
Law is difficult to scale, unfortunately, because of regulations and stuff. Um, you need competent lawyers who buy into the vision to be your brand ambassador in Toronto, in Vancouver, in the major cities. You also want to make sure that the clients are looked after, because it only takes one client for everything to fall apart, right?
Yeah.
So law is very sensitive in that regard and very territorial. So crossing the frontiers of Alberta, it would definitely be a challenge, but it's still a vision. I want the firm to have presence across the country, break that glass ceiling so that 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, people who look like me could do it. They can build their own practices. They don't need to remain small, which is something that is prevalent in our community. People are so afraid to be big, to grow.
Hmm.
They want to remain small. I've seen lawyers who were quoted about in the 90s, 2000s, but there's still two lawyers in the firm, three lawyers in the firm, because they are afraid to add more people. They're afraid to take on more responsibilities. They're afraid to take the jump, that leap of faith, and grow. I want to disabuse that fear as much as I can in our community. I want people to know that you can actually have a firm of 40 lawyers, 100 lawyers, just have the right, setting, have the right foundation, the right structure, and it's possible.
Okay. So besides that difficulty of doing that, scaling the business across the country right now, temporarily, what would you
Right.
say is your biggest challenge or mistake in your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, one reality that I never knew existed was um, loyalty, employee loyalty. In my experience with Mr. Smith, the relationship was premised completely on loyalty.
Okay.
When I became a lawyer, I had a lot of law firms coming to me for opportunities, including someone Mr. Smith called a good friend. This good friend was trying to push me behind his back.
Mhm. It's a jungle
Yeah,
out there.
it is a jungle out there. This individual promised me an office, clients. I didn't even need to pay rent. I didn't need to look for clients. It was too good to be true, you know. But where I come from, loyalty is everything. For someone who reached across and gave me an opportunity, and I promised this individual I was going to build with him, that promise was my bond, and I wasn't looking to break that bond. In fact, Mr. Smith didn't know about this friend's attempt until 4 years later. So
Okay.
it didn't even make any impact on me. It was a conversation I was had. This person meant it. I said no to them. I didn't think Mr. Smith needed to know. I was loyal
Yeah.
to the vision. I was loyal to him, and I helped him grow his firm. I don't see a lot of that. I started the firm, I guess, from a place of naivete. I thought many people would have the same mentality towards relationships. I didn't see a lot of that. At the very beginning, I took on a lot of people who made tons of promises of future collaboration working with me. But the
Mm.
moment something shinier
Yes.
came around, they jumped ship. So I could tell you that that had been or has been one of my biggest challenge, because I trust completely. Sometimes I mean I'm learning to trust cautiousness now, but prior it was difficult because that was not who I was. If somebody told me that we're gonna do something, I would take their word for it
Yeah.
and plan around that. So that has been my biggest challenge. But things are getting better now. I'm learning. I'm learning to put controls in place and manage my own expectations better,
Yeah.
and understand that people make promises based on the circumstances present at the time the promise was being made. I think you're just expectations and maturity and getting better as a business owner, knowing that some of these relationships are not meant to last for a very long time, and it's okay. if they don't
Yes.
last for a very long time. So long as you have a system in place for continuity, when you know things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to throw something to that. I don't remember who said this. It said, "You don't see the world the way that the world is. You see
Right.
the world the way that you are." And
Yes.
you are a loyal person, so you expect everybody to be the way you are, and then when that's not it, it becomes the like, oh
Disappointing.
wow, okay, reality check, this is not the way it
Exactly.
actually is. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, thank you so much. I want to be respectful of your time. I know you got to go to other stuff, so anything I
Mhm.
haven't asked you that you want to share with our audience today, and how can they reach out and support your mission and what you're doing?
Absolutely. Well, the one thing I wanted to end the conversation with would be preparation, preparedness. People, um, I've had people assume that I just walked into this opportunity. I didn't. I earned it. I paid top dollar for the opportunity,
Yeah.
and I was prepared. Most importantly, if I wasn't prepared, nobody would be hearing about the firm today.
Yeah.
You know, right from the first day I joined the firm, I put my head down and I studied. I paid attention to nuances. I read and broadened my network. I was engaged in tons of community engagement, community events. I joined a lot of business groups. I was prepared. When the opportunity did come, I was able to take advantage of the opportunity with the help of mentors, of course, and take that and run with it. You know, from a staff of 6, 7 people to 36 people in 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
That speaks to being prepared. Newcomers, young entrepreneurs who are looking to um, make a headway in their careers, they need to invest in preparation. Because if they're not prepared, A, the opportunity would come, but they will not even notice the opportunity,
Mm.
or they will notice the opportunity, but they cannot take advantage of the opportunity. The opportunity will just while away. So preparation is super important, especially for folks who look or sound like me. You need to be prepared. What I've found is when you are able to help people, provide them the need, so satisfy their needs, professional needs, help them from point A to point B, the way you sound begins to seem irrelevant.
Yes.
They wouldn't matter anymore. They don't care where you come from. What they care about is this person provides help. This person can serve this particular need. And that's what will completely matter. And that's why you have, you know, successful folks. You know, success doesn't discriminate when it comes to
Yeah.
color and all of that. So preparation is very important. And of course, to you, Ida, I appreciate what you're doing. You know, giving people like me a platform to share our stories. And you're a very good interviewer. You know, you ask the right questions, you do your research, you understand the person across from you, you know their journey. So you're asking very targeted questions. So
Yeah.
kudos to what you're doing in your podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. So, for those who have listened so far and they want to reach out to you, how can they contact and support the mission? And
Absolutely. The website is osugismith.ca. If you type my name, there's no hiding place for me anymore. No hiding place. No hiding place. The phone number is 403-283-8018. We are located in Calgary. We provide services in all practice areas other than criminal law. And I have very good people in the firm who can help.
awesome, awesome. Guys, you heard it here. You heard it here. Not first, but you heard it here. Charles is amazing. If you couldn't tell that just from listening to him, just go type his name on the internet and you would see. It's been an absolute honor having you today, and I look forward to continuing to connect with you and learn more from you and learn more about you even.
Thank you, Ida.
Thank you guys, and see you in the next episode. For more insightful conversations with entrepreneurs, check out this video right here. I think you'll love it. Continue to enjoy, and I'll see you there.